This is it. This is episode, where did I write that down? 637 of No Laugh Track Podcast here in Minneapolis, Minnesota at Acme Comedy Company. My name is Justin Severson, and I am joined by the second Anderson in the last month.
Trevor
This is going to be the limit of Andersons.
Yeah.
Last time was Trevor Anderson. This is KP Anderson. No relation.
No relation. Although the last time I was here, he was my opening act, and now he's headlining.
Yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
good for Trevor. Like, he's a great guy.
Things are going well for Trevor Anderson. Not only is he headlining down at Acme, but he just posted on social media yesterday and mentioned it on the Laugh Track a few weeks ago. In London now. Posted a picture yesterday, flying to London.
Wow.
And now he's in London with his family.
Good for him.
How fun does that sound?
Is he just on vacation in London? Or? Okay.
I asked him. No shows.
So
no
he
shows,
didn't
just
bring the
vacation.
spatulas to sell and shit.
There's probably a market there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
There's probably a market there. So where do we start with UKP? So I have to tell you, first of all, I was convinced that we've done this more than once before, but it's only been
No,
once.
it's only been one time.
Maybe it's because I don't know. Did we hit it off so well, or I don't know why? I know we ran into each other outside of here.
Yeah, we
in
saw each
between
other at a
then.
wild
Maybe
game.
that's what I'm thinking. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but I'm like, oh, this is the third one.
It did feel like an interview when you saw me at the Wild game. It did feel like I was on the hook for more info than I was ready to share.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry you're here with your families.
Yeah.
Answer some
I
questions.
was like, God damn, Justin, what are we fucking doing here? Like,
Dude, I'm always prepping.
yeah, I had
That's
3 bourbons with my brother before you turned me around, and now you want to know what's going on with my career?
We could start doing that on No Laugh Track and see
Yeah.
what happens, see what comes out. Although that podcast has already been done by a million other people. I'm going to start right here. So when you were here just about 2 years ago, June 27th is the last time the episode that we recorded was posted, of 2024.
Okay.
June 27th, 2024. And we talked, I listened back to it, of course. We talked towards the end, and you were saying, like, this is going to be a test to see if I want to keep doing this. Stand-up. You
Yeah.
said, I'm not necessarily going to make a decision about retiring, but what you wanted to do is keep an eye out for projects coming and not
Yeah.
book anything. Mm-hmm. Your words were, I don't want to book anything that pays better and then have to cancel shows.
Yeah.
So here we are
Yeah.
in July of 2026, and
My
what happened?
only tour date of 2026.
Okay.
Deep in the middle of I'm still doing spots a lot in the city and a lot in Stamford, Connecticut, right by where I live in Greenwich, and the New York comedy clubs are great to me, and so I'm still enjoying it. I think I'm enjoying it a lot more than I was the last time we talked.
Okay.
I think just like something, that at that period in time, I was still trying to figure out also a lot of like, what do I have to say? And I was doing a lot of material. I was like dusting off, especially in these shows, for like just sort of for the fun of it, to remember doing this bit, that bit that I used to do here, Grand Forks, wherever, when I was on tour. And so I was enjoying that part of it, but I was kind of struggling to write to a new voice, or to not really a new voice, but to a current perspective.
Okay.
And something over the last year or so has changed, where like now and I hope you saw last night that I'm doing a lot of material that I've sort of like stowed a bunch of stuff. A couple things I'm keeping because they're good sort of grout between chapters.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to do. I'm enjoying the material and I'm enjoying the perspective, and I feel really confident with the perspective that I've got on stage. Like my feature act this week, Joey Hamburger, is insane. Like, he's brilliant and he's wonderful and he's clinically fucking insane. And so like when I saw that,
You had never seen him before last
yeah,
night.
like as a great example, like it was great to have Trevor Anderson as my feature act the last time I was here, because Trevor's really funny. Trevor carries his time. Trevor also comes in at a very clever and very contained persona.
Yes.
For what he's doing.
Uh-huh.
And it was great to do that because Trevor set a very nice table for me and did a great job of getting the audience really revved up and laughing. You could tell he was ready to headline, but he did me the favor of being a really like strong comic, and it made me feel better going on stage, feeling like the audience was there, but they were kind of focused on form, because I was really working to get back some form and develop some new form.
Right.
And then with Joey's just out of, you have no fucking clue what he's going to do. I don't think he does. And so, but when I saw that, I was like, oh, good, this is the test I need right now. Like, and not to, I don't mean it too braggy. I thought Joey had an amazing set. I didn't really compare and contrast mine versus his, but I felt really good about the set that I had last night.
Hell yeah.
And I felt very good about like the story that I was able to tell after this guy came in, and like he's also really unique for the kind of comic that he is, because he brings a lot of energy into the room without sucking a lot of energy out of the room when he's done. And that I think is like, that's a rare gift. I was telling him about that last night. I don't think he understood what I meant because he's fucking crazy. But
dude, I'm just gonna keep doing it. I don't know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. But he was just great. I mean, I was just so happy to see him. I actually used him on a pilot that we were shooting in Stanford about 3 months ago or 4 months ago. He was in town.
Oh, no kidding.
So just Lewis just knows who to put.
Look at that. All right, so let's go back. 2024, when you left here. What was the first project that landed in your lap?
Wow.
Because you didn't, like you're saying, you didn't continue booking shows necessarily.
Gosh, let's see. Well, let's see. I did a pilot. The project, meaning as a showrunner, executive producer, head writer, all that stuff. I did a pilot for Comedy Central with Ken Jeong that I think was after that.
Oh no, it was mentioned last time. It was right. Like you had just heard that wasn't going, I think.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So let's see. Moving forward from Ken, let's see. I developed a show with Rich Eisen and his wife Susie for Roku that's now on ESPN that I have nothing to do with, called Women's Sports Now, which was is like a weekly wrap up panel talk show around women's sports, and did okay on Roku. That's on like ESPN the app now, and I moved off of that. I was flying weekly for 10 weeks. I flew from New York to LA on Tuesday, shot the show on Wednesday afternoon, and caught a red eye back Wednesday night.
Hello.
Yeah, and it was just too much. It was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. Also, might have not, after so much travel, old man might have not gotten along so well with some of the others.
Okay.
Things happen.
Sure.
But then, notably, I have been an executive producer consultant for this company, Pro Shop Studios, that does Full Swing on Netflix, the golf show. And for the last couple of years, I've been doing a lot of golf content with them, branded content, things like that. We do these things called the Creator Classics, where we took the top YouTube golfers and we put them in a tournament on the course at PGA Tour events, like inside the ropes with the fans there and stuff.
I'm dumb. What's a YouTube golfer?
YouTube golf is a crazy big corner of YouTube. Like, you wouldn't think it, but there are these creators in YouTube golf, and what they do is they go play golf, and they shoot their round of golf, and they play with each other, and they release 3-hour videos of them playing golf, and millions of fucking people watch it.
Because of what they say to each other?
Because their personalities, their relationships, like there's a lot of it was built out of Barstool with their group Foreplay that does it. There's another group called Good Good. There's a very popular creator influencer named Paige Sporanic, who was like the original sort of golf creator woman, and so there's this big world of it. And so we were, for a couple of years we were doing those. I did a morning talk show, executive produced and created the format for a morning talk show from the first tee box at the Ryder Cup with Colin Jost and Marcelo Hernandez and Hannah Burner, called Breakfast at Bethpage.
A little bit of talent there.
Yeah, it was on Peacock, and Colin and I are old friends, and that was a blast. That was like 6 months in the making. T-Mobile paid for it. The PGA of America, put us in the spot that we were in. Omaha Productions partnered with us on it. And
so you just, like, outside of work, love golf, right?
Actually, no. I like golf.
Seriously?
I play golf when I can, but I'm not addicted to golf in by any stretch of any imagination.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I don't hate golf.
Yeah.
I also just kind of I think there's a thing you realize at some point. For me and most men, it's too late. But like when it's time for a midlife crisis, know your weaknesses and plan accordingly.
Sure.
Otherwise, you're going to wind up with a garage full of fucking guitars and paintball equipment and golf clubs and shit you weren't good at when you were young and active.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be any better at it now, no matter how much money you throw at it. Like,
I am going to ride that skateboard, damn it.
yeah, that's 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 gonna hurt.
Yeah.
But I mean that's the thing is I think with golf it was part of I was living in L.A. I was there for 30 years and we moved into a neighborhood that had a really nice country club there, and I had a lot of friends that were members at that country club, and so I joined that country club and I played a lot of golf, and I never got over the pandemic I got a little bit better.
Okay.
The day that I shot my all-time low, and it was an 83 on a pretty hard golf course, from the Blue Tees, thank you very much. And it was about 9 months into the pandemic or 10 months into the pandemic, and I was with my regular group of guys, and I tapped in for my 83, and I picked the ball out, and they all looked at me, and I said, and all it took was 1 million deaths.
Oh,
Because there was nothing to do. Everybody was
yeah.
dying, and all
Yeah,
we
I
did was
mean-
played golf.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, it shouldn't take 1 million deaths for me to get 4 strokes better at this fucking game. Like,
so many things. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of skills improved
Yeah.
in people. If the
yeah, but that's when I sort of went, and then during the writer's strike, the guy who created Full Swing, my friend Chad Mum, who was a member at the club, I was living in Greenwich by then, he just called me and said, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know, whatever you tell me you're doing." We're in the middle of a writer's strike, and he said, "Well, I need someone to come, help develop content for this place." And I was like, "Great!" And they had an office that they were opening in New York, and I got to meet a bunch of new people, and I got to travel around and spend days on golf courses and go to the Ryder Cup and go to all these PGA Tour events. So it was an amazing time. It was really cool and it was really fun, and at the same time, I was watching Scotty Scheffler play golf, weekly, and I was like, well, that's a guy who should be doing this.
yeah. So he's in town right now.
Oh, that's right. The 3M.
3M Open. So when you hear about something like that going on, you're not like, oh, I got to get over there.
Nah.
Not at all.
Nah, I mean, it's always fun. It's always great, and the PGA Tour was amazing to me. They were partners in Pro Shop. I actually left Pro Shop right at the same time I got this Hot Ones extra heat that I'm show running for Netflix. I sort of made the decision that we still have some projects that may sell, and I may go work with them on down the road. But I really wanted to do a really good job with this opportunity with Netflix and Hot Ones, because it's been a while since I've had a show on Netflix, and Sean Evans and Chris Schonberger, who started First We Feast and Hot Ones, are just incredible people, and they're great to be around, and they're great to work with, and they're great to work for. And I just kind of went, I don't want to be distracted by anything right now, so I'm gonna knuckle down and go work on this. So.
For people who don't remember, last job you had with Netflix was
Sort of the Joel McHale show with Joel McHale, and Norm Macdonald has a show. We're both at the same time.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then now let's talk. You mentioned it on stage last night, the Hot Ones show. I watched the one episode that's available now. Let's talk about that some more. The first episode's with Will Ferrell and
Yep.
Fortune Feedster. My God, is she so funny?
Yes, she was. Yeah.
Holy shit, she was
Unfortunately, I
funny.
go so far back. It was so great seeing her, because she was writing for Chelsea when I was running the Soup on E, and we were together for 9 months every Wednesday in a room at the Writers Guild of America the two shows were trying to get
Yeah.
NBC Universal to make them Writers Guild shows, and so all the writers were together, and Fortune. Things would get really tense in that room, and Fortune would just start making everybody laugh.
Yeah. Awesome.
Even the people from NBC Uni sitting across the table from us.
Oh, even the tightwad.
Yep.
The TV execs.
Yeah.
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 Very
So we got
funny.
to see each other. It was the first time we'd seen each other in years at that ball field for the show, and it was just literally both of us almost crying, just going, "Oh my God, I missed you." Yeah.
So when you got hired for that job, what was the expectation that you were going to bring?
Gosh, that's a great question, Justin.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think basically the idea of the show is, because Hot Ones is still shooting and available on YouTube and continuing episodes, huge stars. They get massive stars. When we talk about who we're gonna do things with on these specials, there's always kind of a parallel path of that discussion is also happening on the Hot Ones, and so there's a little bit of a Chris and Sean and Sarah Honda, who also runs a company with them, sort of saying, we're okay with that one going over the Netflix show as opposed to doing this show. And so I don't I don't. I work out of the offices that they have in Manhattan, and I go to a lot of their tapings. And their executive producer, Dominique Burrows, she's just great and brilliant and taught me the things that you kind of don't see have to go into, setting up for one of these interviews and like the best practices of making the wings and all the other stuff. Like she's been with them since the beginning, and so she's just an encyclopedia of how you physically make this show. What I'm tasked with is protecting what everybody loves about that Hot Ones interview. And so much of that is the research and the intimacy. It's not just seeing famous people, start to cry because their mouth is hot. It's all of the things that Sean brings to it on the research side, and it's also how you shoot it. It's also this isolated cameras. Showing people up close so that you're understanding the answer, plus you're seeing how they're reacting to the heat, and so it's that. But then also figuring out a way, now that it's Netflix and now that we're attaching it to special events on Netflix.
Yeah.
So this was attached to both the Major League. This first one was attached to both the Major League Baseball Home Run Derby. It was airing. It launched right after the Home Run Derby ended. A couple Wednesdays. I don't know. Mondays ago. Yeah. Thank you. And then it was also advance promoting The Hawk, which was going to be premiering in a couple of days from then. And now The Hawk, if you look at the Netflix top 10, The Hawk is number one. Like, we premiered at number 2. And we stayed there for the better part of the first week. And then this week is the second week, at the end of the second week, and we've dropped now down to number 7.
Oh, I'm just going to look. Okay.
Yeah, but The Hawk, when The Hawk premiered, it premiered strongly. Well, we were number 2 behind is Little House on the Prairie. Those fucking Ingalls kids. I'm gonna send them to hell where they belong when I get. But we've stayed on the charts mostly, I think, because of The Hawk. Now, I think that
sure.
Everybody knows and loves Hot Ones, but because the way the algorithm works, they're pushing Hot Ones Extra Heat to anybody who hasn't watched it yet as soon as they finish an episode of The Hawk.
Yeah.
So great. So we're getting that. So we're getting that double bump, and so we'll do those. But also, the expectation now is to make it look a little bit bigger. Like it's a weird kind of thing to go, okay, we're going to shoot in an empty baseball stadium, but we need it to be intimate. And so, like, working that balance and making it feel special, making it feel big, making it feel different in important places from Hot Ones, but not losing the footprint of Hot Ones, because people will resent us if we don't give them Sean asking deeply researched questions of famous people,
Does he look up those questions himself?
Yeah, there's the research process, and again, this is what I love so much about Hot Ones is they started as a bootstrap thing, and now it's a monster industry. And it was Chris and Sean were compatriots at Complex Magazine, and Chris basically had this idea that, like, the stupidest thing you could do in a celebrity interview is, like, make them increasingly more uncomfortable as you ask questions. So then they just talked about what's the most fun way to make people, and one of the two of them, like to sit with their friends and eat, hotter and hotter and hotter wings and see what happened to them. And so it became this thing, and then because they're both, like, really journalists at the core of who they are, and especially Sean, like, he wanted it to be more inside the actor's studio than silly. And so he started with these, like, really well thought out research questions. His brother Gavin, who lives in Chicago, is maybe the best researcher I've ever met and seen. And I don't know how he came by that or anything else, but Gavin and Sean and Chris, and now for this myself, kind of are the people involved in formulating. And by the way, Gavin, Sean, Chris, way more important in that process than me. I'm still learning their voice, their style and everything. But I'm super happy to be in the sandbox, and I love when Sean asks a question that I wrote.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but
I looked up a review. Do you look up reviews of shows that you're
I don't tend to,
in?
but if it's good, I'll hear it.
No, this is one of the bad ones. This
okay.
is the only bad one. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that to you. I didn't find a bad one, for the record.
Oh, good.
But this is it kind of backs up what you were just saying. What this show will remind you of. Hot Ones. Extra Heat is a slightly more grandiose version of the web hit Hot Ones, but the show is essentially the same. Which is just what you said your goal was.
Yeah, it's like when I met with Sean and Chris, like, I got the job in a really weird way. I was actually pitching a golf show to Netflix on a Zoom, and a woman, Amy Cohen, who works for Netflix, who was our exec over the Joel McHale show with Joel McHale. So we've known each other for years, and we hadn't seen each other in a while, and so we were excited to see each other. And the pitch that we were pitching just wasn't going well. And Amy texts me, and she says, "Hey, it's so good to see you. We're not going to buy this one, but I have a thing that I think you should do. Can you call me right after this?" And so I called her, and she goes, "Hey, do you know Chris and Sean from First We Feast?" And I was like, "No, but I'd love to." And she was like, I think you should meet. I think you're the right person to run this show. There's also elements of like my practical experience, the fact that I did the pickleball special with Stephen Colbert, and that I did the the stuff with Colin Jost, that I know Netflix, deliverables inside and out. All those kind of things are, also important to the process. But
was this the best rejection ever? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't that invested in the other one. It wasn't my idea. So yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. How many? Can you say how many? Like, how far is this going right now? The Hot Ones Extra Heat. There's one available to watch.
There's one available to watch. There's another one that I fly to LA to shoot the first part of on Monday. I fly there Sunday and shoot on Monday, and then on August 5th we're in Orlando shooting the second part of it, and then that'll be airing sometime in September, attached to a big event in September. So anybody who wants to guess at it,
sure.
But
you don't have a bunch in the can already.
No, there'll be 4 this year, and we know what these first 2 are. We're pretty sure what the third one's going to be.
Okay.
And it'll be very, if it winds up being what we want it to be, it'll be very near and dear to my heart. And then the fourth one will come at the holidays, and best guess is that it'll be something around the NFL Christmas Day game or something like that.
Of course. That makes sense.
But they also have a lot of winter premieres and stuff like that. And we've talked about doing things attached to movie premieres and things. So we'll figure it out. Netflix will pretty much steer us into where they want us to.
I mean, you got plenty to choose from.
Yeah, and then if all those go well, then maybe we make more of them next year. Or maybe I'm back here talking to you, going, "This time I'm really retiring."
I want to read a few more things about this review here. It says,
Okay.
I don't remember who put it out. I should maybe give them credit. It's basically, they call it like stream it or skip it.
Oh, Decider.
Decider.
Yeah.
That's it. Yes.
Yep.
Thank you. That is.
Yep.
I'm just going to read a few more things here. Performance worth watching. Will Ferrell manages to keep his thoughts together even as the final dab is ripping through his digestive system. Sex and skin? Question mark. None. And this is the part. I'm glad this article mentioned this, because I was like, geez. None, except for all of Fortune Feimster's cooter talk.
Fortune brought the cooter. Like, Fortune was very, very into the cooter stuff. Which I guess tracks. But I can't say enough good things about Fortune.
There was a lot of great double entendre jokes.
Yeah, I think the best part about Fortune, because I'm not like grand friends with Will, but we've been across each other on enough projects that we know each other, and he's always very polite, and he's always fun to be around, and always fun to see and watch work. But the way she tickles him, I just love that, because she's sort of like, she's always had that ability to just find the most important person in the room and not be shy about making them laugh.
Yeah.
And she's just so silly, and she's so it was just great watching her, having known her for so many years, and with this legend, she's just got a meeting out of her hand.
The episode's a half hour long. How long do you think you shot?
Not much longer. Will had like a crazy schedule, and we shot up in Malibu, and he had to be on Jimmy Kimmel, which was down in Hollywood at like 5:00 that day. So we had to turn Will around out of there within an hour.
Oh wow!
And so it was
no pressure.
Yeah, I think all of these are going to come in around 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes. But I think it's better served that way. There's a get a lot out of the 10 questions that we ask and leave them wanting more.
Sure.
Yeah.
Final thing, our call. Let's talking about this. The Decider's call. Stream it. Hot Ones Extra Heat takes Hot Ones out of the studio and gives us a little bit of extra fun. At its heart, it's still the same show that became a massive YouTube hit.
That's fantastic.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I think it's trending well. You know, it's a long career, man. And like I had breakfast with someone. I'm actually doing this seminar this weekend here.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's I'm closing in on 40 years into this shit. And from stand up to to writing to show running to all the other stuff, and it's I had this amazing run for like 12 years. I had the soup and everybody loved it and no one said a bad word about it. And then since then I've been producing shows, and some have been really well received and some have been really tough, and a lot of them have been shot under really difficult circumstances, which I don't get to whine about because everybody was making shows at the same time. We're dealing with the same things, whether with COVID, but the industry has changed so dramatically. And like I had a blast doing Breakfast at Bethpage with Colin, because that was writing the jokes for that show, especially leading up to it before we got out to Long Island. I was a couple of days at 30 Rock with Colin and the head writers from Weekend Update, and banging out the jokes that were going to be in our first episode, and getting to work with those guys and making each other laugh and all that stuff. It was really like after a bit of a dry spell in terms of feeling creatively fulfilled by what I was doing, I was like, yeah, I'm actually like, this is fun. And
that's awesome.
And not to say like working with Stephen Colbert on Pickled, same thing. When we were writing the comedy, when we were doing that part of it, it was amazing. But it was a really big, a lot of other shit was going on that show, and I was the guy in charge of making sure it all went off. So it was like we're coming back in and out of it. Breakfast at Bethpage was the first one in a long time that I felt like, oh yeah, this is why I got into it, and had so much fun doing it. Didn't matter that I had to be like up and on this golf course at 4 o'clock in the morning. Everything was just, this is what I want to be doing. Hot Ones is now like another opportunity in that direction that is so great. And so kind of what I want to do in this seminar is like kind of talk about just, like Hot Ones is a really good example of where the industry is at right now. Is the traditional distributors don't know where to find the content that they're going to put, on their services. They're watching YouTube, cannibalize the industry that they had, and so now they're like, you see Netflix bringing in these people, and so like, if you're someone like me who's not young in the industry, where do I belong? Like, where do I, can I dust up fast enough to go out and run a podcast on YouTube? Can I be, effective in that, in that job, especially with like the lower budgets and all the things I'm used to having more money to spend to make things now after all these years. So to me, I think talking to everybody about where the industry is at and talking about like what of like, instead of, if I would have done this 2 years ago, I probably would have hinged the talking points more on how I got my start, because there's a lot of people who are looking to find their way in. Yeah. So talking about where I got my start, but so few of the things about how I got my start are really relevant now. Like I didn't have YouTube to put my material on or to make things for. I was sending videotapes to clubs to get to Lewis Lee to get booked into rooms. Everything was, you didn't get public exposure. You couldn't decide when you were getting public exposure on a grander scale than an open mic night.
Right.
And so like now there's all these opportunities, but people don't know exactly how to embrace them, and they don't know where it goes in success. And while I'm still figuring out, it changes every week, while I'm still figuring out where it goes in success, I'm starting to learn things about, and having been through enough things between Creator Classics, where we're airing these on YouTube on the PGA Tour's YouTube page, and somehow getting 1 million live views. Who are they? Like, where are they coming from? All of these things, like figuring out how to be like a solo act, and at the same time realizing that word collaboration is like it's now a business practice. And so in order to grow as a business person in this craft, you have to embrace the idea of collaboration, maybe earlier than, for a stand-up especially, maybe earlier than you would have, or would want to. but it's like, oh, I can't just keep feeding my audience. I've got to find a way to get to a new audience, and the way to get to a new audience is for me to go sit down and talk to Justin. Is to figure out like what's that path and how do you grow it. And I don't have those kind of like YouTube seminar or social media seminar things, but I think I have a lot of structural and sound advice in terms of habits and practice that carry over that I think are valuable to people to learn.
So what's being advertised for this Saturday at Acme is a 90-minute, calling it a career seminar.
Yeah.
Led by you, KP Anderson. And I saw, if you buy that, you get a ticket to one of the shows that night.
Yeah.
I think? Yeah, free ticket to that night's 7 o'clock show.
Yeah.
Included with the purchase to attend this. Have you done this presentation before?
Yeah, I've actually done one like this in this room, years ago.
You did?
While I was running the soup, I came back. I don't even remember if I actually did a stand-up that week, but I've done versions of it, and I've been presenting, so it's kind of like an ever-evolving sort of, talk about the key is to take my experience and figure out where the mistakes, where the things that went right, where the funny stories, where they serve the audience by not just going, hey, come here and listen to me talk about me with your Saturday afternoon. It's about what are the things in my experience that needed to be learned from, and that are sort of inherent commonly to anyone. Could be a stand-up wanting to become a famous stand-up. It could be a person who's wanting to work in production and wanting to work on more mainstream production. It could be someone who's trying to start their own podcast and wants to go that way. Like it's where between the practicalities of putting yourself out there and finding a space, a lane for yourself in the business, to learning where the opportunities are and what to do, how to embrace them, and then I think the newest part for me that I'm still kind of working on what I want to say about it, but I want to talk about the long haul, looking in the rearview mirror. I had breakfast with a really great producer from here, Ian Fritz, who does a lot of NHL stuff. Had breakfast with him this morning, and he's a younger guy, and he was like, "Does the anxiety ever end?" And I was like, "Oh fuck no!" Like, how do you mentally make it through a decision to be in this, craft or be in media? And
I have anxiety every Thursday leading up to doing this podcast. I've been doing it for how many years?
Yeah, and you're great at it.
Wow, that wasn't said.
But you are great at it. I think that it's why you're great at it.
Maybe,
It's like the anxiety, like it manifests differently in terms of where you're at in your career arc, what or your life arc, what the circumstances of the day are. But like I think that David Letterman, I was watching one of his My Next Guest Needs No Introduction. I think it was an older one with Kevin Durant, and he talked about it because Kevin Durant was asking him. He was asking Durant about, do you get anxious out on the basketball court? And Durant was like, no. And he said, but I get. There's a feeling that I get when it's about time to play, that like I recognize the energy that's brewing in me.
Sure.
And he said, do you get anxious? And Letterman was like, all the time. But he said, with Letterman, it was he learned over, after he left the show, or like towards the very end of the show, is when his son came along, he finally learned to not let the anxiety own him.
Yeah.
And kind of be like, okay, well, I've done what I came here to do, so I can stop worrying about it so much. I'm not there, not financially there, and so there's that part that is, with the business changing all the time, and my wife will tell you, like, I am a basket of kittens when I don't have like 3 projects lined up, and so how do you move forward in the day when you're, when that's getting the better of you, I think is a big thing that people, there's certainly been so much talk about mental health, and in a good way, over the past grouping of years. But I think that inside of how you practice your business, and especially if you're one of the types, like if you're going into entertainment, you're making a lifestyle choice. You're not making you're not making the same choice that you would be making if you were going to go manage a grocery store. Right. You're really making a choice of like who who's going to get you? Who are your friends going to be? Who's going to want to listen to your bullshit? Like you are, like at some point you're going to recognize a level of narcissism in yourself. Like there's all of these things, and then as you get older, you're going to realize that everyone else recognized it way earlier than you did. And so you go, where do all my friends go? Oh, wait, I'm a dick. That's why. And so all of that stuff is rolling around and boiling, and the more ambitious you are, the more it both drives you and destroys you if you let it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and so I want to talk about that.
Oh, that sounds great. That
Yeah.
sounds great. I hope you get a huge crowd here.
Yeah.
I want to ask, you've mentioned living in Greenwich, Connecticut, and I want to know.
You know what's funny? I literally was just on a Zoom with our talent booker from Hot Ones Extra Heat.
Yeah.
And she used to work on Red Table Talk, the Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith thing. And she was telling me a story about when Demi Moore came to do the show, and a fly came buzzing around Demi Moore, and literally like Demi's publicist was like, "Stop the fucking interview!"
Are you holding him from saying that, or that fly?
Yeah. Meanwhile, I've got this fly on my straw. Like, okay, well, I guess there will be no more hydration for me.
I have two guests this week.
Yeah.
KP and the fly. I want to know, doing all this work based in Greenwich, does that work as well as it could?
Took
Would
a
it be
minute.
better if you lived someplace else?
No, but it did take a minute. Like if you're, there's a lot of like I can do this from anywhere, and I think with like true creators, like aren't coming at it from a like and eventually I need a TV studio to to do this stuff. It rings more true for people like that it's like you can broadcast from anywhere. If I wanted to do my own podcast from my basement, I can do that. Got the wherewithal. But Greenwich is only 35 miles from New York, or it's only like 35 minutes by train on an express, 45 minutes. And so like I'm at the Hot Ones offices, and I was at the Pro Shop offices before that a few days a week. I work out of there. I get into the city. But the hardest part was moving from LA to the East Coast. The thing that I didn't take into account is how many like fresh content, plenty of friends who worked in New York and people who I knew and worked with, but I didn't, even though I'd done chunks of working out of New York, I'd never like lived there and realized that like the networking side of this and the in-person, and I was like coming right out of the pandemic, and people really wanted to be in each other's presence again.
Right.
And so me learning how to set those meetings, and me learning to understand why like someone would say, I'll meet you anywhere between 35th and 45th Street above 9th Avenue, and you're like, go fuck yourself. Like, I'm coming to town like you. And then you spend a couple days like walking around the city, going to like 3 back-to-back meetings that you booked in different boroughs. You go, I get it now. Yeah, I get it now. Okay, I've got to be, and just like all of that stuff, plus like sort of like, I was very lucky. I've got a really great agent at William Morris Endeavor, Evan Warner, who like worked his ass off to make sure that everybody in town that might be in a position to collaborate or do something with me knew that I had moved there.
Oh, okay.
And so he did a great job of setting up and putting me in contact and forcing me to get out of my, the box and call people that I hadn't talked to in years and stuff like that.
Oh, that fun stuff.
Yeah. But now I feel we're 4 years going on 5 in, and I'm or is 5 going on 6. We're very comfortable there and really like the life that we've got there. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I saw there's another a mansion being built. This one's going to have space for 40 cars. This is some guy's collection. Are you in on that at all? Like,
that is one thing. It's in the act, but dude, that Greenwich money, like that is a whole other kind of money.
It's insane. I looked that up. I just searched Greenwich News, and it was like some multi-billionaire building the biggest house ever.
I will say, like, the single greatest life hack I've ever done is I rent in a town that billionaires pay for, which is terrific. It's so great. If there's a pothole in the street, no one's knocking on my door.
Right.
Like I pay a little bit more in the rent, but I don't pay the property tax and I don't pay the town. And my God, sir, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it is so clean. It is so idyllically nice, and like far too white. But it is like, but it
I was
is
gonna say,
it
wait.
is a very clean town.
There are always drawbacks.
Yeah.
I got
You know what, I wanna-
whiter than Cambridge, Minnesota. I bet.
Yes, but I want to like, whatever I just said there, I want to make sure that everybody knows that I don't think it's a good thing that it's too white.
Oh, that's what I put. Yeah.
Yeah,
Same.
good,
I
okay,
agree.
yeah.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
I think that it's just like that whole part of like Connecticut, Westchester, everything is it's if you watch My Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV, there's a lot of that shit going on. Like I've been invited into people's houses, and now I'm like, hey, he does have a lot of watches. I'll bet he wouldn't notice. You can't help it.
Right.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. But
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please keep coming back. If I could nudge you in a direction, keep doing stand up.
Thank you.
Come
man.
back next year so we can do this again.
I would love to.
I want to look up more about rich things happening in Greenwich. And
Okay.
other things, so.
Please.
Otherwise,
Awesome.
I won't.
Awesome. Or maybe I'll have fucked it all up and I won't be in Greenwich anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. You never know.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Justin. Great to see you, buddy.